Christmas is here, and recently we've had some lovely sunny warm weather, but this morning it's cold, grey and damp. So not the best conditions for working in a house that doesn't have power, lighting or heating, but probably the perfect conditions for creating a dungeon-like experience in a room in the back of the house where I'm going to be excavating the floor to find the bedrock foundations. For this work, I'm going to need to remove a lot of old tiles and then dig out a lot of rubble and dirt. So I'll probably need to spend quite a lot of time on my hands and knees. But hopefully by the end of it, I will have created a perfect space for showcasing the 5 must-have dungeon floor designs for 2025. First up, I need to get underneath the tiles and start lifting them out. There's a couple of broken tiles here, so in order to get underneath the other tiles, I'm going to break through these ones and dig in, and then hopefully it should be easier to remove these ones. Well, I finished removing the first line, and in my experience that first one's the most difficult, and I did choose one with fairly poor quality tiles. I saved a few of them, but I had to break a few. It's the tiles on this side of the room that I'm most interested in preserving. They're the more interesting ones that are square with 3 scratches through them. This side is a bit more of a mix. I'll try and keep as many as I can. Phase 1, done. It was quite hard work, but it was actually quite fun, and it was certainly a good warm-up for this chilly day. I reckon there were about 400 of these slightly heavier square tiles, and the truth is that once you actually get underneath them with the lever, it's actually reasonably easy to get them out. Now what I've got to do is tidy up each of the tiles and then take them outside. But before I get onto that, I think I'll take a break. It's getting pretty dark in here now, so I'm not sure how much you're going to be able to see. But I have scraped all of the square tiles that I took off the floor this morning. I've got them reasonably well organised here. And the next job will be to get them outside, give them a power wash and give them a bit more of a clean. But for today, I think that's it. I thought I'd do the final chat of the day on the other side of the wall from where I've been working all day. Certainly nice to get some fresh air and a bit more bright light on the face. It's been a good day, and I just wanted to say a quick word about the approach I've taken. I guess an easy option would have been just to go in there, rip the tiles up and use an excavator and probably get it done in an hour and a half. But I think that it's the right thing to do to try and preserve as much as possible of the house and respect the history of it. And therefore I'm quite pleased to have done it by hand. Nice not to have done it with a power tool. I haven't had to wear earmuffs. I haven't had to use the generator. I have had plenty of dust, but there hasn't been too much dust in the air. And I'm really pleased that I managed to maintain my energy levels through the day. The arm and the shoulder are a bit stiff now, and this poor old scraper is certainly looking a bit bald and has probably seen its last day of action. But I will be back for another day of action, and I'll be back in that room and finishing off the tiles and then taking some of the dust off the floor and seeing what's underneath. Welcome back to the house, where it's now a lovely bright morning after a night of very heavy rain. Today I'm going to be carrying on with my work in the back room, moving tiles, cleaning dirt off the floor, and generally being in the dark for a long time. So it's quite nice to start the day with a bit of sunlight. The first thing to do today is to move all of these tiles out of the room. And I was going to give them a power wash before stacking them up, but checking them this morning, I reckon they're probably in good enough, clean enough condition just to stack up straight away, which will save me a bit of time. So I'll get on with moving these out, and then I'll see how I progress with the rest of the room. That was pretty good fun, and it's good to see this floor now a little tidier and nice to see the neatly stacked tiles outside. It's a bit more of a warm up than I expected, and I need to cool down a bit, so I'm gonna have a bit of a break, and then I'm gonna get back on to tidying up the broken tiles and getting ready to take the dirt off the floor. I've had my break and I've tidied up the floor, picking up the bits of broken tile. And now I'm ready for the main event, which is the removal of the dirt and rubble from the floor to get down to the bedrock. I think it's going to be a reasonably tough task, so I've got to stay positive the whole way, and I'll be keeping in my mind that I'm digging for victory. Well, I think it's time for a break. It's a reasonable start. It is hard work, but it's been super fun uncovering these big old stone of bedrock. And I'm going to have some lunch, refuel, get the energy levels back up, and then have a go at getting at least half of the room done in the rest of the day. One of my favourite things about the house is the proximity of nature, especially all the different flowers, birds and butterflies. Of these, my favourite since I was very young has been butterflies, and in the summer you can see dozens of different species here. Some of the tougher ones can even be seen in winter, and when I do see them, it's normally a highlight of my day. It was a cold start, but it's now a beautiful warm day, and it's a real pleasure to get outside, away from the dungeon, and made even better for eventually managing to capture that butterfly on camera. At least I hope I have. I hope it comes out. It's a Red Admiral, and for most of my lunch breaks when it's been sunny over the last 2 or 3 weeks, I've been trying to get a photo of it, and today I think I finally have. So a nice positive note to finish my lunch break and head back into the dark room to carry on with the excavations. Now that I'm away from that far corner where the bedrock is the deepest underneath the surface, and I'm having to excavate slightly less stuff on top, it's moving a little bit quicker. I'm not quite at the halfway line, but I think it's now time for a change of camera position so that you can see slightly better with the window behind, and you might get a bit more light because it's getting darker and darker in here. It's getting pretty dark in here, so I think I'm going to call it a day. I'm sorry that I probably won't be able to show you the bedrock, but I can now see it a little more clearly through those sections. Still got a little bit more work to do in that corner. I thought it'd be nice to say my final words outside, where although it is getting dark and the moon is out, there is a beautiful evening light, and it's certainly a lot brighter than in that dark room. It's been a good day. I've pushed pretty hard and I've achieved quite a lot, but I'm a little disappointed that I didn't quite finish off that final corner to have cleared all the rubble out of that room. So I will have to come back and do maybe a couple more hours on it, but overall pretty pleased with it. For now, see you later. Well, I'm there. After a couple of hours work this morning, I've now got all the rubble and dust off, and I have a floor of bedrock. And for the first time, I can see what the foundations of this house really look like. I'm gonna have a bit of a break, and then I'll do a little bit more tidying up, and then I'll work out how best to try and show you the details of this floor, which in this light might be challenging. I spent some extra time on this cleanup work to make sure I could really show you the shape and character of the bedrock, and I was pleasantly surprised by the amount you could see in this recording. Next up, I'm going to zoom in on a few parts in the chapter of this video that I'm sure you've all been waiting for. And here they are, the 5 must-have dungeon floor designs for 2025. First up is the finish of the floor. And in 2025, it's all about keeping it as natural and bare as possible. And the ideal solution for this is a good bedrock finish. Number 2 on the list is an integrated floor and wall solution, which will do wonders for the security of your dungeon space. We've got a great example here where there is a seamless bedrock connection between the floor and the wall. It's not always an easy feature to create. And one option, as we think happened here, is to turn an old exterior wall into an interior wall. For number 3, if your dungeon has different levels of earth around it, a great idea is to incorporate the natural slope into the design of your floor. This will help make things really awkward. I've got a great example on this wall where the line where the tiles used to touch the wall is about level, and it really accentuates the slope down into the corner of the room. Number 4 on the list is really important if you want to make your dungeon as uncomfortable as possible, and that's to make sure that the surface of your floor is as uneven as possible. This is much easier to achieve with bedrocks like shale, where it's a little easier to carve out troughs and channels. And for the 5th and final item on the list, if you want to make your dungeon really uncomfortable, a great idea is to make all of the edges of the surface as jagged and dangerous as possible. So those are my 5 must-have dungeon floor designs for 2025. And I think that this room's got some very good examples of each one on the list. If you think you could improve my list, please do let me know with any suggestions in the comments section of this video. And if you've got a good idea about how I should renovate around these features in the future, please be ready to tell me. I'm going to call it a day there and get back to doing some Christmas things. I had been hoping to finish yesterday, but working in that dark room, especially when the floor became a bit jagged and uneven, it's pretty tricky. And it was pretty hard work, although I did enjoy it a lot. And ultimately I found it very rewarding, especially seeing the bedrock foundations across the whole room for the first time, and also seeing this big pile of tiles now ready for use in the future. If you are watching this at Christmas time, I hope you're having a very good festive period, and if you have enjoyed this video and the other ones, please do consider subscribing. It would be a much appreciated and welcome Christmas gift. That's it for 2024. I hope to see you in 2025 when I'm hoping that the house will undergo a pretty major transformation that I'm able to share with you.